honestly, you can look back all the way to the weekend series, right, Nick, where, this team left bases loaded, stranded how many times in that game that they lost on the Saturday to the Marlins? Like, yes, Caleb Killian got shelled. It happens. Shit happens, right? But like that's a game that they legitimately probably could have gotten away with in the sense of like they had the opportunities. They just could not capitalize. And let's be frank, right? They had bases loaded what, three, maybe four times in that game? If they do something meaningful with it once, they win that game. Just once. Because even a deep single scores two. So you do the bare minimum at this point offensively in that game. That's another W. Like Juice has talked about it at nauseum on this show, right? Of those wins that you think about later in the season when you're, 4 or 5 games out and you're like, I wish we would have had that one. This team is 500 and they realistically should be like 7 or 8 games above 500 right now because that's how that's how many games it feels like they've had an opportunity to win and they just couldn't. Like I'll forgive yesterday, whatever, shit happens. Nats had a really good inning. It is what it is, right? But tonight, 2-1, you lose after an incredible performance by one of your two aces on the mound. You go back to those all three of the Marlins games. They absolutely could have won all three of them. That's just 4 games in the last 6 days. That doesn't even include the 3 games that Michael Fulmer blew at the end of the season and then a couple more. There are so many games right now that this team could win. And we're only getting frustrated because this team is not a bad team. Your
No.
1 through 5 right now is sensational. And I'll even after tonight's game, Hap, Nico, or pardon me, Hap, Saya, Mancini, all 2 hits. All 3 players, the only players to get hits for the Cubs tonight, mind you. But batting averages, Nico's still hitting 305 despite the offense going cold. 295 from Dansby, 308 from Ian Happ, 291 from Belly, and 275 from Seiya Suzuki. What in the hell is happening? It's not a bad team. This is not the Cubs of 2022 where you're trotting Rafael Ortega out every single day of the week. Not a shot at Rafi. I got his jersey. Don't worry. We love Rafael Ortega. Hashtag Cubs legend over here. But this is a different ball club. And it's nights like tonight. Sure, Mancini had 2 hits. And I'm not as mad at Mancini in totality as I am like at guys like Hosmer and at Rios right now. Like Rios is just taking up a roster spot. Let's be completely fair. You could flip out Rios for Mervis right now and nobody would bat an eye.
Yeah, no.
Nobody.
No.
Because what is Rios doing? Striking out 4 times a game? Cool. You know who else can do that? Me. I can go up there and strike out 4 times a game. And you don't pay me shit. You pay him $865K. That's the difference. This team needs to get shit together soon offensively because right now, more than ever, right? People had been pining for this. Friend of the program, Scott from Iowa, has been pining for this for weeks. But in the last week and a half, Nick, the calls for Mervis and Morel are louder than ever from
Oh,
Cubs fandom. And it's getting to the point right now where if you're the front office, how much longer do you put on the earmuffs and say, we can't hear you until it's just overwhelming?
exactly. I mean, it's going to get to that point very shortly. And like you mentioned, it's people will say, oh, it's early, it's this, it's that. But we can all remember the game 163. We all remember that. Every game counts. And to have these games that were definitely winnable ball games just slip out of your hands like this because of what you mentioned, 1 through 5, fantastic. We almost have a black hole at the bottom of the lineup minus wisdom. He gives us the power, but still, it's like a black hole. And you have guys like Mash and Morel that are up in Iowa. Just they're raking. They're absolutely raking. And like you said, you can't hide that from fans. You absolutely cannot hide that in this day and age. You can't hide any of that. We're going to be reactive. We want to win. And what kills me is that our front office is showing us that we don't want to win. By seeing these stats, by seeing Rios, Hosmer, I'm done. I'm just done. I'm over it. By seeing these people go out there and do this and not make an adjustment, you're showing the fans that you're not wanting to be competitive. And that's a problem because, maybe this isn't the year we're competing for the championship, but we got to be competitive, and you got to show your fans that you're being competitive, and things can get out of hand very quickly.
Yeah, and agreeing with you in the sense of it's early, right? We're only 30 games into this 162 game marathon. But I think the reason there is the frustration this year that there wouldn't have been in 2022 is this is a good ball club. Like this club has done a lot of good shit recently. Drew Smiley has been pitching phenomenally as of late, right? He's got his shit together. Stroh and Steele are aces. Justin Steele leads the NL in ERA. I mean, it's that good, and Stroh is in the top 10. Like it's not much of a difference between those two on the top leaderboards. And then you just think about what Dansby and Nico and Hap and Belly are. Belly's off to one of the best starts of his career. Like this team has the talent. That's why people are frustrated because you have this great 1 through 5, and then you destroy it by trotting out and not a shot at him because he does well behind the plate. But then you throw out Barnhart, Hosmer, Mancini, and some nights Madrigal. There's no power. We got a little bit from Mancini, and Hosmer's teased us at times. But in totality, this team is still severely lacking. And again, it's frustrating because it's not like we're sitting here and going, oh my God, this team could use 2 power bats. They have to go out and trade for it. All you have to do is give up a fucking roster spot, man. That's all it requires. And for guys that, to Juice's point, don't you don't owe a goddamn thing to in the grand schemes of it. You're not DFAing a 37-year-old Anthony Rizzo. You're getting rid of guys, and here's something that I think is interesting from our boy Joey. First off, let's go to the comments here for a second because there's some really good comments here that I have just completely neglected. Scott from Iowa confirming 35-minute flight from O'Hare to Des Moines. He's clearly taken that before. I might have to take that this summer at some point to get out to Principal Park there in Old Des Moines because I want to go see the Iowa Cubs play. Nonetheless, our boy Joey Ricotta, hashtag where's Joey, is in full effect. He says, it's getting ridiculous at this point. I have thoughts. He says, damn, I cannot wait to rejoin you boys. Well, I mean, you're the one that's, on the rehab stint. So you just got to report to us when you're good to go, man, and we'll activate you. That's all it comes down to. Scott jokes. He says, changing the hashtag where's Joey to where's Eminem in reference to Mervis and Morel. I think that's hysterical. Absolutely love that. But here was Joey's plan that I wanted to bring up. He says, send down Rios and Madrigal, let each play every day, and that way Hosmer can hang out and play clubhouse leader on the bench, call the upside win, 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 win. Hosmer's defense alone, I agree, is okay of a roster spot. But to Joey's point, even if here's the thing, right? I will make the argument right now and try to be as level headed as I humanly can be. Is that Morel is still striking out a lot. It's just every time he hits the ball go very, 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 very far, right?
Yep.
Like that's just what his numbers are right now. If you look at his numbers right now down in Iowa, I mean, he's been unreal. He's slashing 358, 460, 821, right? But he's struck out 32 times in just 24 games. His strikeout numbers are still very high. But he's walked 16 times, which for Christopher Morel, that's good. That's very good. He's gotten the walk numbers up. The strikeout numbers are still high. So if the Cubs make the argument and say, look, we want to leave him down there because we want him to play every day and have the opportunity to continue to work on kind of that discipline at the plate, cool. I can get behind that for a little while longer. I can get behind giving him 50 to 55 games at Iowa, which gives him another 20. That gets us into mid to late May at this point, right? But like again, all you have to do is swap Rios for Mervis, and things look wildly different. And people might argue with me, well, Morel's numbers are better. Yeah. Here's the difference. Mervis is slashing 286, 402, 560 right now at Iowa, right? That's good for a 962 clip. That's still very hot. But he has 91 at-bats in 24 games. He's struck out 19 times. He's walked 18. The guy's strikeout rate is the same as his walk rate. That's insanity. Don't forget the 7 doubles, 6 home runs, and 27 ribbies he's already got to his name in just 24 games. Like, this guy's getting it done. And he hits fucking missiles. Did you see the home run he hit the one night, Nick?
Which one?
He looked like if I could hit my 3 wood on a golf course the way he hit this ball out at Principal Park, I
Oh, yeah.
I would be on the PGA tour because he went down and got it and
Yep.
golfed it out.
I
Absolutely
know.
golfed it out. But here again, here's the thing. And again, making the argument for the sake of the Cubs, you have right-handed power in this lineup, right? You have Patty Wise. You have Dansby Swanson, who he's starting to heat up a little bit, it feels like, right? You have Trey Mancini, who has offered you some of that power. But when you look at the left side of the plate, and even Sea's got power, right? If their names aren't Cody Bellinger or Ian Happ when he's hitting from the left side, you have no power from the left side on this team. None whatsoever. Give give Mervis give Mervis a chance. Scott Crawford mashes a higher walk rate than strikeout rate. It's about even. Nonetheless, same. You're right on, Scott. Like this guy is doing so well. His plate discipline's clearly good. Let him get a shot. And guess what? If he's really bad and he doesn't help you, then so be it. Do you really lose that much getting rid of Edwin Rios? No. He barely plays. He was like Luis Torrens, which they finally did the right thing and let him get DFA'd for Belly coming back. So at least Nelly V can stay up. But like, why is Nelly V on the bench?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point.
Like, why is he not getting at bats? If you're gonna do this bullshit again, send him to AAA. Why? Because why? Here's my thing with this team right now. I am okay if you want to let Trey Mancini play first base, but then why in the hell is Hosmer your DH? I don't care that it's against a right-handed pitcher. He doesn't provide you shit anyway. There's no matchup advantage. He's not doing it.